that Omnitopia City was going to have to find other ways to handle its garbage management besides magical ones. And since no one with a brain would willingly spend valuable game time picking up street crap by hand, Rick felt sure that until out-universe matters calmed down a little, the Orger was going to stay right where it was. But none of these matters were really issues for Rick right now, and anyway, at the moment he wasn't Rick. He was Arnulf the Many-Faced, a paramage member of the Human League organization Metamages Without Frontiers, and he was on his way to Merivelt to spend a little bit of hard-earned game gold on some new Magian equipment in that macrocosm, and to socialize with some folks he knew who also played and fought and healed there. With his boot now cleaned to his satisfaction, Arnulf turned and strolled upward along the lane toward the light of the nearest cresset, which was stuck into a wattle and daub wall some 20 yards or so farther along. Up there, at the corner where Troker's Lane crossed the only slightly broader Shade Street, Arnulf paused and leaned against the wall for a moment, enjoying the feedback from the new real-feel synesthetic sensory input system he'd finally been able to afford. His wife Angela had protested a little at first about how much money he'd spent on it, but he'd taken some time to explain to her, not entirely untruthfully, how having it would actually make it quicker and easier for him to play the game effectively. When she understood the difference it would make, Angela had rolled her eyes at Rick, not particularly fooled by the spin he was putting on it. But she'd also stopped complaining. Rick considered himself lucky that Angela genuinely didn't seem to mind all the time he spent in Omnitopia. It probably helped a lot that he brought home a little money from the game every month via his crafting of custom tools and accessories for other players who were interested in the medical side of magery. He thought she realized, too, that in Omnitopia he was able to do the socializing that the double shifts he frequently worked for the country's second biggest parcel carrier didn't leave him any other time for. I really do have it better than a lot of people, Arnulf thought, running a hand down the knotted, splintery surface of the half-timbering at the corner of the buildings that fronted on Shade Street. It was going to be a long time before he was bored by the fact that he could now actually feel the wood, smell the scents programmed into the air, even taste the virtual food, though admittedly sometimes the tastes were a little weird, as that feature was very new, and the game warned you when you added on the extra helping module that your flavors may vary. Rick didn't understand the mechanism that allowed him to receive touch and taste and smell information via his optic nerves, but frankly, he didn't care. Omnitopia had been like another home to him for years. Now that he had the new hardware interface broken in, Omnitopia felt physically real as well as just looking that way, and as long as there were no long-term effects from the software spoofing his brain by way of his eyes, that was fine by him. Arnulf glanced up and down Shade Street. It was empty, a little unusual for this time of day. But then it was getting on toward dinner time in Omnitopia City, and a lot of transiting garners in this part of town, historically more residential than commercial, would be heading for the pubs and taverns and cookshops, preparing to do a little business, make a little trouble, or just sit down and have a good time with their fellow Omnitopians. Arnulf considered the possibility of going down to Uncle George's flat patty place at the far end of Shade Street, or maybe Prince Dave Bongo's over in Half-Light, on the off chance that he might meet somebody there who would send a little more business his way. Uncle George's, in particular, was well known as a place where metamages, midwives, herb doctors, and others interested in Arnulf's trade hung out before heading outworld. But no, he thought then, I want to get my hands on that new Magia kit, and those League robes with the new sigils for the campaign next month. I've been talking about them for days. If I don't bring them home today, Angela's going to start giving me grief for being indecisive or wasting time. Arnulf let out an amused breath and continued on down Troker's Lane, now widening into Hook Street.